What is up, everybody? Welcome into episode 57 of the Brahma Bullpen. That's right. I said the right episode number this time. Y'all haters quit hating. We got a special guest again. We got our producer. Producer, say what is up to the YouTube folks for your second time on the channel.
What is up? Happy to be here. Happy to join.
Man, it's awesome, dude. I'm super grateful that you're a part of this with me. It makes it fun giving me someone to talk to. So I do appreciate that. In this episode, folks, we're going to do schedule breakdown. We're going to do it bullpen style. Maybe not like everybody else is doing it. We're going to do it our own way. We're going to have a little bit of roster update as of today, the day of recording this. Brahma just signed some new players. We're going to bring that information to you with an updated roster. And then at the end of the episode, we're going to do our win-loss prediction for the season, what we call the way too early. What the heck are you thinking predicting wins and losses this early in the season prediction? And they'll probably all be wrong, and we'll make it up later as we go. Anyways, real quick before we go, for those out there watching, I got a lot of swag, right? Producer's got his swag up over there too. I'm gonna show my latest collection real quick. I know nobody probably doesn't care, but I have the football, one of the footballs that was used by the Brahmas, actual game ball. Look at that. Look how wore it is. Look at that original color. Look, original game ball for the XFL championship game, baby. I want to say there's probably, I don't know how many balls they use per game, but let's say 20 or 30 of these. I don't know, maybe in the world, maybe less. I don't know how many came up for sale, how many players kept, yada, yada, yada. But what I do know is when I bought this, there was only 4 available from the collection warehouse that that the UFL signed an agreement with. Producer, I see you got yourself a little. Well, everyone knows about the bullpen cowboy hats there. I see you got yourself a little football over there. That's some player autograph football, ain't it? What you got? Who do you got on there?
Oh, I got AJ Smith is on there, a
Boom.
few others, but I'm glad to have it. But I don't know. I'm kind of jealous of that championship ball. That's a nice purchase, man.
Hey man, I have my ball signed by every member of the XFL Conference Championship team right there. Shout out to Cody Lattimore for hooking your boy up. But anyways, enough of that, man. Let's get into the episode, man. That way people don't just turn off our channel and go watch something else. First things first, as of the recording of this video, this is the latest signings by the UFL Football League. We'll start off with the Brahmas because this is the bullpen coming to you from the cow pasture on behalf of United Football Media. We signed 2 players, Greg Eland and Jacob Harris. Now, Greg Eland played over 300 snaps at right tackle for the Brahmas last year. So likely he's going to have a great chance of starting. Great chance of starting. Jacob Harris was drafted by the Eagles out of UCF. Didn't play much, spent a lot of time on practice squad, I think the last 3 or 4 years. And then now he's coming down here to make the deepest wide receiver group in the league even deeper. Producer, any other signings on this list stand out to you? I'm checking to see whether you did your homework and actually read through this list.
Don't comment. I'll comment on the roster in a little bit, but not on the signings at this moment.
No. Well, I'm going to just throw it out there. DC signing Jordan Ta'amu. That is big time. That makes DC, in my opinion, the second best team in the XFL conference. That's just my opinion. But for those of you out there in YouTube world that don't follow us on socials, I'm going to just pop this up real quick. You can pause it, you can read it. But this roster right here is the most updated roster that I have access to. I've been keeping up with the signings. So every one of these, none of these signings were confirmed to me by the players. Okay. But what these signings are the posted signings that the league has put out. Every time the league posts one of these, I then take that information for the Brahmas and I put it here. I'm not doing it for all the teams. This is the Brahma bullpen. Producer, of this roster, I know you've had a chance to look at it. What player stands out to you that you're excited to see has re-signed with the Brahmas this year?
Oh, as far as re-signed, Savion Patton, I'm really glad to have him back. He was really effective, particularly against Houston, pressuring the quarterback and getting those sacks. And so I think he can be a huge reason that we win some games, particularly with our defense. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back on the field.
Heck yeah, man. And he's a member, the official member of the bullpen. He's been on our episode. Go back, I think, what was it, episode 55. He spent some time with us. And that cowboy hat that you can see over there in that corner, not only does producer have one, not only do I have one, but Savion Patton has one. His first ever cowboy hat ever in his lifetime is a bullpen cowboy hat that we hooked him up with. So that's awesome. Cool, man. Well, that's good. I'm everyone knows I already did a whole episode about it. I'm really looking forward to Kellen Mond coming back. And our wide receiver room is amazing. Our defense is amazing. I can't pick a single player I want to talk about, but I'll just some of the ones that stand out to me: Darius Phillips at cornerback, both of our linebackers, and Devontae Beckett and Williams, top two linebackers in the league. Um, Jonte Kirkland coming back, Justin Smith coming back. I mean, we're stacked, folks. We're stacked. There's nobody on this roster that mad's coming back. Marquez Stevenson coming back, the speedster, John Lovett coming back. I mean, good grief. And then we added talent like Kellen Mond and Ladamian Webb. Anyways, everyone else is in trouble. Everyone else is in trouble. That's all I got to say. Anyways, we're going to go into the schedule. First things first, we're going to just start off with week 1 of the UFL. Friday, March 28th, opening game, St. Louis going to Houston, the original XFL Houston Stadium. They're the Houston Cougars Stadium, the TDCEU, I think something stadium. Very nice stadium. Me and producer have been there. Producer, your thoughts on opening Friday of the UFL, Battlehawks at Roughnecks, inter, what is it? What's the word? Conference, XFL conference versus USFL conference to start the season. Any thoughts?
Well, we'll see if Houston's made any improvements over what they were able to show on the field last year. I'd like to see how good, of course, St. Louis is going to perform at quarterback. Now they've had a major change, so we'll kind of see what each team presents. Fully expect the Battlehawks to win that opening game.
You know, I think St. Louis is not as good as they were last year. And I think maybe Houston's a little bit better. So it will be an interesting game. And for those who don't know, AJ Crybaby McCarron, yeah, you heard me call him Crybaby McCarron, is not coming back next year. Max Dugan, TCU's own Max Dugan, will be starting quarterback for St. Louis Battlehawks, in my humble opinion. Obviously, none of this has been confirmed. This is just me looking at the roster. Anyways, going down to the next game, Brahmas versus Renegades. Real quick, Brahmas got better. At best, the Renegades stayed the same. And we swept them last year. So there's no debate in my mind. We're going to go into Arlington and own these fools. Any thoughts on this game? Me and producer, there's a 99.9999% chance me and producer will be in the stadium Saturday, March 29th, 4 p.m. to watch the Brahmas dominate the Renegades. Producer, any thoughts on this game?
I don't think there's much a question really whether the Brahmas win it. I fully expect them to win too. But I'm looking forward to that game. We were able to go up there and watch the opening UFO game last year in Arlington. So looking forward to doing it again with the Brahmas there this year, their opening game. And I can't wait to see the Brahmas put it to them.
Gonna be awesome, man. Gonna be awesome. All right, on to Sunday, on to the Lord's Day of football. NFL ends, spring begins, and we still get football on Sundays, which is amazing. Panthers going to Memphis Showboats. The much improved, completely new coaching staff, and probably majority of new roster players on the roster as opposed to what was had last year. Showboats. What do you think about Michigan going to Memphis? You know, Michigan was a playoff team last year, and they were like one of those teams that started off slow but ended strong last year. What do you think about this game?
I think that game is a little bit of an unknown, at least in my opinion. We'll see what they put on the field. Um, right now, I think I'd rather give the Panthers the edge on that one,
Me
but
too. Me too. I
who
think you're
knows
right.
what we'll get.
Who knows?
I think it's the less interesting of the two games on Sunday.
Them boys over there at Captain's Log, they're not gonna like this, but I think they're taking an L week one. But anyways, and
Yeah,
then maybe what could probably be the most competitive game of the weekend, in my opinion, opening weekend. I think St. Louis is gonna have an easy time with Houston. I think the Brahmas are gonna. I mean, I'm nobody, but I think the Brahmas are gonna have easy time with the Renegades. I think the Panthers are probably gonna win by at least 10 points, two-score game there. I think the most competitive game is going to be the Birmingham Stallions, Matt Corral, Jordan Ta'amu, 3 p.m., March 30th. What do you think about this game in DC, in Audi Field? Wasn't Audi Field your number one stadium in our stadium rankings last week? Was it Audi Field?
I believe it was. Yeah,
So what do you think is
uh,
going to happen over here in this number one
I think that's
stadium?
going to be sold out or near sold out. Should be a sold out game. Um, it's going to be a rowdy crowd, a lot of beer snakes,
Yeah.
very competitive, and a high level of play in the game. So I would expect it to be probably one of the higher rated, if not the highest rated game of the weekend.
One of the things you said was the skill level of the game, right? Now that we're going on to essentially year two of the UFL, and there hasn't been near as much movement of players and coaches, you're going to actually get into the pro football quality of play because a lot of players coming back in the same scheme, playing the same position with the same cues, with the same reads. They're going to be instinctively reacting. It's going to be amazing to watch. I do think the quality of play in the league is going to go through the roof. So a great point. Thanks for
Yeah,
mentioning that. We're going to go ahead
sure.
and put up the most contentious slide. Well, one of the most contentious slides of the episode. Everybody's big mad. Here you see our home schedule for the Brahmas here in the Dome down here in Cal Pasture South. Everybody's big mad. Brahmas don't get a home game till week 5, April 27th, when Houston comes to town. And then, of course, you see we got DC, Memphis, and Arlington. Those are our home games. We get to play 2 games in Cal Pasture North, which is St. Louis Battle Chickens. I'm not even worried about that. But producer, what do you think about these games here? Are you predicting a 4-0 home record next year? You know what? Don't do that. We're gonna do predictions later. But what do you think
Yeah,
about not getting a home game till week 5?
I think that with the schedule, I mean, it's something that's gonna gonna stuck. It's a disadvantage to have that extra road game. We should be even, but yeah, I think the Brahmas are talented enough to handle that. I think they'll be fine, and I think we got 4 really good home games, and I'll go ahead and say it. I think we're going to win them
Ooh,
all our
baby.
home games.
We got the full schedule pulled up right here. You can see we open the season 4 weeks on the road. And look, I'm gonna just for all those people that are upset. Number one, we got the final four. Uh, you know, coming to San Antonio. We got like Disney on Ice in the Dome. So it's perfectly understandable that for financial reasons, the dome needs to be used by other entities. Not a problem. We're going to work with it. I just love the fact that we're playing our games in the dome. It's amazing, right? Um, Going to Arlington, to St. Louis, to Michigan, and to DC. That's, I think, week one is a good warm up week. But I think all 3 of those games, week 2, 3, or 4 are going to be a struggle. I mean, they're not. We're not going to go in there and blow any teams out. I think that those are all going to be very competitive teams. It's also crazy that in our first 4 games we got 3 conference games, so it's going to really dictate where we're going to be at in our conference. Uh, by week 4, man, we're going to know we're going to know where we're at in the conference. That's for dang sure. And then we, of course, week 5 we got Houston at home, which no one's worried about Houston. Second half of the season kind of flips a little bit. We do get 3 home games to end the season. Getting DC at home is great. Of course, we're still not worried about Arlington. Getting Memphis at our house, I think we'd beat them even in their house. I mean, doesn't matter to me. I really do think the toughest games on our schedule is week 4 at DC, week 6 at Birmingham. What do you think, producer?
I agree with that.
Yeah, those are the big
I'd
games.
say those are the toughest games that we'll have, particularly week 4.
Week 4, DC. That's a big game.
Yeah,
The other thing I'm going to pull up right here, the league is going to have uh, Friday games, Saturday games, and Sunday games. So I kind of went through, broke the graphic up a little bit. We're going to open up on a Saturday, and then we're going to have a string of Sunday games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sundays in a row. Everybody loves Sunday games. I get it. Only one of those is at home. 5 Sunday games on the road. Producer, I got the man cave. I got the outdoor TV. Everything stocked up and ready to go. Sundays on the road. I'm gonna have a great time barbecuing and watching football, dude. Like we're gonna travel probably to week 1. I don't know what we're doing the rest of the season, but isn't it gonna be cool just to cook out on a Sunday and watch football in the spring?
absolutely. I'm gonna have to join you over there.
Yeah, man.
Some of these games.
Yeah. And then we got week 6 going into week 7. So this is the only week where I'm concerned. And this is why. On the road Sunday, playing Birmingham. That's tough enough as it is, right? But then you got to turn around literally on a 5-day rest and welcome DC into the Alamo Dome on Friday. 5 days between probably the toughest two toughest teams on our schedule, right? DC and Birmingham. I think Brahma's got a little bit of short end of the stick. So for those people out there watching this episode or you follow us on social, if you want to complain about the schedule, forget complaining about having a home game, not having a home game till week 5. Let's complain about 2 of our most competitive games on 5 days rest. What do you think about that?
When we looked at it earlier, I didn't recognize I was on a Friday, so I said that game in DC may be one of the toughest, week 4. But that home game against DC on short rest, man, it's maybe just as tough, if
Yeah.
not tough.
Well,
They're going to be tough to beat twice.
yeah, it's going to be tough. And you're right about the road game week 4 because you're going 4 road games in a row. And I know people say
Yeah,
they're all traveling every week because the hub model and everything. So it's all the same. You're on the same plane, traveling the same way. I get all that. I'm not talking about the extra strain of riding in a plane. I'm talking about playing in front of a hostile crowd, right? I'm not, and getting that little hometown bump, right? When you get off the bus and your people are cheering for you and the game starts, you see your colors everywhere, you see your folks everywhere. It's a little different, man. So yeah, I think those are going to be rough games. And then ending off with the Friday game, we basically our home games, we go Sunday, Friday, Friday, Sunday. We get no Saturday games at home. I'm a little disappointed. Actually a big fan of Saturday games. I would almost prefer to have my games on Saturdays, but hey, no problem. I'm good with 2 Friday games. The problem is that really only gives us 2 good games to tailgate. If Friday, we're gonna assume that most people are working. Uh, Friday game at 7 p.m. You work till 4 or 5 o'clock. You get home, you get your stuff. The tailgating scene is gonna suck those 2 days. So what we really need to make sure we do is on the week 5, April 27th, and the last Sunday of the year, June 1st, we need to definitely tailgate. And even the last Sunday of the game, it's an 11 o'clock game. We're gonna start tailgating at 4:30 in the morning. So really, our best tailgate game is April 27th. We got a 2 p.m. game. And that is the only thing that I feel is a big negative with our schedule is tailgating. And tailgating is a huge part of football, college or pro. So it's just one of those things. Uh, what are your thoughts on the tailgating? I know we normally play in cornhole. We normally got tents and TV set up. We normally got music going. We got free booze
yeah,
for everybody, Jello
we've had some good
shots.
times tailgating.
Yeah,
Uh, if you're listening to this and you haven't had a chance to go to a good tailgate, take that opportunity. Try it this year. It's a a disservice to the fans that we're not going to get that many opportunities. Those Friday games really make it difficult, but uh, if you're able to tailgate, take advantage of it. Make sure you get it done because it's a great time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're gonna next slide here. We got next little graphic. This is a graphic the league put out, and it's just the entire league's graphic. If you guys want to pause this and read through it and look at it in depth detail, you can. I didn't really go through this too much. I just want to make sure you guys knew it was floating around out there. Week 1 through 10. I know, producer, did you get a chance to look at this? Is there anything that stands out to you as far as this overall graphic for the entire league?
Not too much. I can't really pick anything out of there in particular. Once again, something that we discussed was our own schedules is the main thing I've looked at. But as far as everything else, I'm looking forward to seeing how some of the teams perform more than others. Really want to see how St. Louis develops with a new quarterback as the season goes on. And then, of course, another team that I expect to be very competitive with us. We'll see as our team continues largely as a second year team. We'll see what DC does and how they continue to develop and, and play together as well.
Yeah. One of the things that kind of stuck out to me, if you look at the Renegade schedule and the Battlehawk schedule right there in the middle of the season, week 4 and 6 for both of them, they're going back to back with each other almost. You got the Renegades play St. Louis, DC, St. Louis, and if you look at the Battlehawks, right, in flip, you got Arlington, Michigan, Arlington. It'll be interesting to see how those games shape up so close to each other, and if that has any impact on the game. If you look at the Houston Roughnecks schedule, the last 3 weeks of their schedule, they go Michigan, DC, Michigan. If you look at the Panthers, you can see it flip, right? Houston, Birmingham, Houston. It'll be interesting to see how those games that are so close to each other, and the schedule just worked out that way, right? To where you're playing someone 2 out of 3 weeks. It'll be interesting to see the win-loss records on those. How hard is everyone gonna split those games 1-1, home team winning, or is someone gonna actually be able to win 2 of those games? It'll be something to kinda watch as we go through the season, but we're going to go ahead and pop up the Mike Mitchell tweet here. The league put out this whole thing in a news release, but thought I'd give my boy Mike Mitchell a little love on here. Mike Mitchell put the schedule out. So if you're just looking at the notes there, you're going to have games broadcasted on Fox, ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, FS1, obviously ESPN Deportes. All 43 UFL games during the season will be presented on these channels. 40 regular season games, 2 playoff games, and a championship game. Um, Producer, real quick, is there a single channel or another TV partner you wish were involved in here? Because basically you got Fox and ESPN. Are you happy with that, or would you like more options?
Uh, I don't know if they would do it, but I think some NBC games would be really neat. I love their presentation,
Okay.
but
Okay.
for the most part, we've got some good TV partners. I'm good with those.
Yeah, I think NBC shows a lot of golf, right, in the spring, maybe. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I don't watch golf, but they might have some conflict there. But anyway, so you got 32 of the 43 games will be on major broadcast networks, and only 11 of them being solely on cable. So ESPN is going to have 22 regular season games and postseason games, 22 total. ABC is going to have 12. ESPN's got 9. ESPN2's got 1. Then on the Fox Sports area, you get 21 regular season games on Fox plus the postseason. Uh, then you got FSN, FS1 has 1 game. So ABC, ESPN, and Fox will have 5 double headers during the season, meaning there's going to be 5 times where games are going to be competing with each other for views, right? So, but anyways, that's pretty natural. That's pretty natural. I'm sure all of our views will be in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the number one TV market for UFL football, by the way, in case you guys did not know that. So we'll see what we got going on there. But anything else on TV, partners, broadcasting, any of that stuff? The next item up for bid, or the next topic we're going to cover, are our win-loss predictions, and we're going to put each other on the spot and have to explain why we did pick the way we picked. Anything else before we move on?
Let's go.
What are you doing? Are you playing on your phone while we're having an episode here?
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
looking up what I picked here.
You're looking now. You should have already had it all memorized. Look, folks, for those in the YouTube world, I popped it on
There it
both of
is.
us. My picks are above my head. His picks are above his head. And let's just go week one. I picked the Brahmas to win because I feel like the Brahmas not only were better than Arlington last year, we got better. Arlington stayed the same. Why did you pick week one the way you did?
Basically the same reasons. I feel that we're the better team. We're going to show that in week one, and I don't think it's going to be very competitive. We're going to kill them.
It's interesting to look at. We both going 8-2, but with different losses. Week two going at St. Louis. I'm less confident in this pick. This is going to be based upon how Max Dugan's doing, but I did take the W there in St. Louis, our first trip of the year.
I think our game in St. Louis, I picked that as the first loss because, or are we going to week two? I'm sorry.
That is week two.
Okay,
Week two.
So I'm skipping
Two
ahead.
comes after one,
All right,
bro.
so-
It goes week 1, 2, 3. Just keep that in. One.
So week two, of course, we're heading on the road again, but a tougher opponent. But they'll still be getting used to that new quarterback play. They'll still be adjusting and figuring out how to play together. I don't think their offense is going to be in the best rhythm at that point. And so even though they're a tougher opponent, I still think we get the victory.
Yeah, they got a lot of good players coming back. Shakir Pearson's coming back. Mike Rose is coming back. They got a lot of people returning. That's one of the crazy things about that we kind of mentioned earlier is all these teams have actual players that have been in that system coming back. So week three, Michigan. I just don't think Michigan is all that great. And we beat Michigan last year, and they have the same players, and we got better. That's going to be a repetitive theme in my win-loss prediction. I'm going getting the dub up there in Detroit in that stadium with like 12 people in it. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned home field advantage. Beautiful stadium, but it's just so empty in that stadium, at least the way it looks on TV. I just don't see them having very much of that home field advantage. And I don't think they're going to be as competitive on the field. Once again, easy victory.
We'll see how Detroit does up in that forward field during the playoffs. But anyways, let's go on to week 4. DC. I have us getting the win in week 4, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm not confident about it, and I picked this win before today's announcement that Ta'amu's coming back. But with that being said, Ta'amu did struggle last year, but in previous seasons in spring football, he played really well. But last year, he wasn't so great. So we got a great defense, and I think we can still win this game. But why did you give us our first loss of the season in week 4?
Well, I definitely agree that the game is winnable, but I picked that first loss because it is the fourth road game in a row, which is going to be hard on any team. The environment will be hostile. It's that smaller stadium, so it's gonna feel packed. It's gonna be loud, and then as you mentioned, with Jordan coming back, they should have a pretty good offense, and so I just think that altogether may be a little bit too much to overcome being on a fourth road game. And so I'm thinking that's going to be that first loss.
The 4-week grind of the airplane travel. Got you.
Yeah.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Week 5, week 5, I don't think we got to talk too much about it. Houston sucks, right?
Yeah. Enough said.
Why are Brahmas going to win week 5? Because Houston sucks. Okay.
Absolutely.
Week 6, I got us taking the L week 6. One reason is because I feel like by the time we get to week 6, oh, Skip Holtz is going to have the Stallions on track again. I think if you're going to get them, you need to get them early. I think if you're going to get them, you need to get them while everybody's kind of getting into the groove there. And of course, we know Matt Corral's coming back. And I just think that the Stallions are going to be tough to beat. I think they're going to win the USFL conference again. You know, last year in the regular season, the Brahmas went undefeated against the USFL conference, including beating the Stallions in the regular season. But then the horrible game championship that shall not be spoken of happened. Uh, but I just think that this year it might be opposite. They might beat us in the regular season, and we might beat them in the postseason. What do you think, producer?
I think it's going to be a very tough game, and we could definitely easily lose that game. But as you mentioned briefly, the game that we do not speak of, uh, I think that they're going to be really fired up. They're not going to want to lose to them, and they're going to give. If there's a regular season game, they are going to give absolute everything they have to. It's going to be to the Stallions. They're in week 6, and they're not going to want to lose that game. And so I think that sheer effort, whatever the Stallions give, I think the Brahmas give more, and we win that game.
So you got us beating the Stallions and DC back to back. Let's go into week number 8. Memphis coming to the Dome. Look, I know I kind of jumped ahead and past DC. DC used to be a good rival of ours. We have another host here on United Football Media, my boy Webb. But we had a lot of fun in our DC Brahmas rivalry last season. But Webb's now on the sinking ship. Can you believe that? That guy changes. I believe even the joke on the last captain's log was he changes teams more than some people change underwear. I don't know. But let's go on to week 8. What do you think is going to happen when Memphis comes to the Alamo Dome? I see you got the dub there, but why are you picking the dub in week 8?
For Memphis,
Yeah.
I'm just not expecting very much from them. It's one of our home games. It'll be our second home game. We'll be a little bit more comfortable, and I just think we'll be further along as a team in development and in quality of play. That's something that we talked about earlier, being very important. And I don't think that I think they'll put up a fight, but I don't think it's going to be as competitive a game as even Captain's Log may try to convince people.
Yeah, I think the team itself is going to take an immense amount of pride in winning 4 home games. You know, we've talked to a few players, and it's like you're going to give us one less home game than everybody else. We're going to make our home games count. So I think when teams come into the Alamo Dome this year, it's going to be hard to get a win down here. I also hope that the fans, you know, a lot of the fans are like complaining about the 4 home games. All I'm saying is that makes them that much more important to be there. You only get 4 games in the Alamo Dome this year, unless you make the playoffs, which I think we're going to. But what I'm saying is you got guaranteed 4 games in the Alamo Dome. There is no reason we shouldn't have 25 or 30,000 people in in the dome. And when we get that many people in the dome, it's going to be loud.
Yeah, yeah, we
So
need to get there. We need to get over 20, 25, and at some point we need to get over 30. That's
yeah,
if
yeah,
we could do that. This
yeah.
city can do that.
I'm
Easily.
challenging you, Puro San Antonio, 30K. Let's go. All right. Week 9, my second L of the season, also on the road in St. Louis. I figured we were going to split these games regardless. I just figured that getting them with a new quarterback early was going to be easier. So probably by the time we get to week 9, they'll be a little bit more in tune with one another. Of course, we got a new quarterback as well. So, I mean, we got to overcome that. But I think our defense and our running game is enough to do that. We will have the number 1 defense in the league again. We had the number one defense in the league last year. Wade Phillips had the number one defense in the league the previous spring league. And I don't think he's planning on stopping that now. But with all that being said, I think we're going to split the St. Louis games. What do you think? We both got an L on week 9. Why'd you give him an L on week 9?
Pretty much the same reasons. And, I failed to mention that earlier. I talked about St. Louis having a new quarterback, and you're right, we do too. But I think we got the better end of that deal.
Yeah.
I think we'll have superior quarterback play. I think we'll probably adjust faster, and I think we have the better offense. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're running smoother as a team by that time. But it's hard to beat a team multiple times in a year, and it's St. Louis twice in their own stadium is a really tough task, and so I can see us
Cal
dropping
Passion
that.
North, baby. We call that Cal Passion North. All right. And then we're going to bookend our season with the Renegades coming down, the fake Cowboys coming down to San Antonio, and I feel like we're going to just beat them again. So I got 8-2. You got 8-2. I think an 8-2 season is pretty daggum successful. That will probably, no, not probably, that will get us into the playoffs.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it. Nice game to have to get into the playoffs. Play Arlington, and hopefully by that time it's not even in question.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you for watching. Remember, like, share, subscribe on behalf of the United Football Media. Coming to you from the cow pasture, me and producer signing off like we always do with a nice horns forward. Let's go Brahmas, baby.